Horses living underwater? Okay, Graham Hancock,
Yeah.
whatever you say, buddy.
Lore Boys here. The internet's #1 podcast with amnesia is back with more of what you need. My name is Peter O'Donohue, and I'm made of limestone. Apparently joining me and leaving no evidence behind are...
Hello, I'm underwater. That was the bit.
He's underwater.
I'm James Miller, and if you check the LiDAR, there's a lot of stuff we haven't looked into yet.
So, welcome. So right at the top, I'm not going to do this forever, but my first comic, The Black Frontier, is out and available now, both on Amazon and via our Patreon, linked below. And while you're on Patreon, you might as well kick the boys a couple of bucks and support us, just like Stardust did last week. So welcome, and thank you very much for your support.
Hi.
So,
Thank you.
hello. Thank you. Today's episode about the work of Graham Hancock was requested by Doug over on Discord, also linked below, and also kind of just arose naturally, as I find pseudo-archaeology very fun, and sometimes, like, after my episodes, I find pseudo-archaeology very fun. And after my episodes on Indiana Jones and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, a lot of pseudo-archaeology kind of came up very naturally. And like, as an ex-Joe Rogan Experience listener, I'm very familiar with Graham Hancock and some of his theories, as I think he is the most Joe Rogan guest in history. I think he's been on more than anybody else out of like the 3,000 fucking episodes that they have for that show. So I've listened to a lot of his work. I'm not big into it, but like, I think it's very good. So for this episode, I figured I'd watch some of his Netflix show, Ancient Apocalypse. And I want to stress, in good faith, watch his show and talk about the lore of the Earth according to him. Sadly, on my favorite legitimate website, I could not actually watch Ancient Apocalypse, so I ended up putting on the audiobook of Fingerprints of the Gods, which is his second book from 1995. Part of why I wanted to record later in the evening today is the fact that I had to get through as much of a 15-hour audiobook as I could, so I could annotate like chunks of the script that I had written based off like things that I already knew or had read.
You told me to rush home from the pool. You could have been doing more research. What the hell?
Oh, I was.
I just for
wet.
actually I look, because that's what we talked about ahead of time, is to actually everything
As much as possible, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I looked up the most frequent guests on Joe Rogan. Graham Hancock's not in the top 20. He's number 23 with 13. Number 1 is Brendan Schraub with 39.
That fucking sucks.
Yeah. Or no, sorry, 94. Graham Hancock has 19. Brian Callen has 89, Eddie Bravo 89, Ari Shafir 70, Joey Diaz 63, Duncan Trussell, Red Band, Segura, Kreischer, Hinchcliffe, and so on and so on. But it is very much the Joe Rogan sphere in the top few.
Go figure, huh?
Yeah,
makes
exactly.
sense.
Yeah, go figure. The least funny men alive, and then also Joey Diaz. I can't believe that's his top 20.
And Shane Gillis. Shane Gillis is in there, so he must be, right?
Yeah,
in
14.
the top 20? Oh, yeah, 14. Well, he's on Protect Our Parks. He's on kind of like a compilation show. And Protect Our Parks is something I will go back for, because it's like 3 actually funny guys talking over Joe Rogan a lot, which is kind of nice. Anyway, so I listened to a bunch of Fingerprints of the Gods. Now, Jamie, I know you've listened to JRE like I have, so you've definitely heard episodes of the podcast or I likely have heard episodes of the podcast that have had Graham Hancock on. Have you listened to the episodes? Have you watched any of his work? Are you familiar with, or even watched debunking episodes? Because I've also watched some like Graham Hancock debunking material, which I also like very much.
I've listened to him like while playing video games or like cooking or doing something else. So probably what most people are doing.
He's been on Lex Friedman as well, who I know you also like.
That's what I was going to say. I've listened to a couple Graham Hancock episodes. The one with him and Flint Dibble, which is entertaining because it got a little heated. Where a family archaeologist versus a guy going against the grain. The Lex Friedman one was fine. I really though, although I've listened to it, I've retained so little. Like I remember there's something about looking at like old like pictures from really high up on like how there used to be water in places where people didn't think there were. I remember him saying things about just having like different timelines for like things like the Sphinx and stuff like that, like believing it's a different group of people who created it. I know that he goes alternate history, and there was a civilization that got wiped out that had much higher technology that we don't know about. That's basically, I don't know the details outside of that.
Do you guguys think that the lifeguards in
Spark-
Atlantis were ready for it?
The what?
No,
The lifeguards.
Oh, probably not.
Those fascists?
Just their their chairs are so tall that they're just their eyes are like sticking out the top of the water.
Or just no, I was just imagining somebody who's like just like blowing impotently into like a brass whistle as like a 40-meter wall of water comes directly.
Yeah.
Applying that stupid zinc to his nose in preparation for it.
I went to a public
We
pool
hate
and
lifeguards on this podcast. If you're a lifeguard, sorry, we hate them.
on the bonus, I thought it'd be very funny to just say all the things I hate about the people who are trying to save our lives. So you can check that out on
We're an
Patreon.
anti-lifeguard podcast. We've always been, okay? And if you're a lifeguard that's been listening to this whole time and didn't get it, that's your fault, okay? You motherfucker. It's on you, you son of a bitch.
If I want to run around the pool, the public pool, I should be able to run around it full sprint. I pay my taxes.
Yeah, I pay my taxes.
I want to fucking
Okay,
shatter
your
my collarbone, okay, under my own free will, fascist. Okay, let me do it.
I pay your salary.
And Ethan, I think you and I are probably familiar with like some more of the debunking stuff, as we're both fans of Mini Minute Man, and he's got a very extensive series about Graham Hancock's work. I'm not sure if you watched any of it.
I watched all of it. I watched at least the first episode. I think I watched the first and the second, but I don't really remember. Dear listeners, if you're wondering why I'm not calling Graham Hancock a dumbass this whole episode, it's because Pete and Jamie ordered me to have fun instead of being a stupid piece of shit the whole episode. So that's why. Okay, I'm just gonna go ahead and say, hey, there might be some real damage to discrediting real authority figures in the world of science, particularly in our modern climate. But that's it. I'm done. Okay, let's have fun.
That's fine. All right. So, lifeguards apparently legitimate targets. Quote Ethan Palmer, 2025.
Graham Hancock is not a legitimate target.
Apparently we should
James
listen
and
to
Peter
him.
O'Donoghue. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think if people are going to take things like Atlantis is real, like so seriously, they might be a little past saving. Like, I don't know that we're going to be able to like change their mind on a lot of things. And you know what? Probably pretty harmless as far as things go. If you want to believe in an underwater city, just don't stay under the water too long, I guess.
Yeah.
The rest.
Don't think you're smarter than experts
Atlantis?
just because you watched a documentary. That's all.
Yeah.
Exactly. Aliens in Atlantis, I think, are completely harmless. Go ahead. Feel free to believe.
Just get vaccinated, you dumbass.
I was going to say, stop there and don't make the insane leap of just like, yeah, you know what? I think the pyramids are kind of neat. To my children will die of measles, no matter what anyone tells me.
Exactly.
That will happen. So yeah, this is not going to be a snarky debunking episode. Like I said, Mini Minute Man is a channel I like a lot. He's an actual archaeologist. He does a lot of great work. Very good channel. And then if you're wanting somebody maybe like less snarky, but very entertaining and still very intelligent, Professor Dave Explains is another great debunking YouTube channel who very long episodes, put them on in the background. I find them very good because despite the attitude behind it, the real archaeology behind those yes, but arguments is still like absolutely fantastic. And I will be approaching Graham Hancock's work as fantasy, but it is really fucking compelling. Like I was telling the guys, and like you may have heard if you joined our Patreon on the bonus episode, Fingerprints of the Gods is fantastic. The audiobook I'm listening to is read by him, and he is a very good speaker, he's a very good writer, and he tells a very good story. It is, again,
fantasy.
Not real, but fantastic. And I will absolutely be listening to the sequel audiobook, Magicians of the Gods, if I can find it. It's good. Anyway, I want to start out about talking about Mr. Hancock himself a little bit. So on another great podcast, the QAA podcast, they do have an episode about him where Annie Kelly, one of the hosts, takes a very sympathetic look at Graham himself And like the way she talks about him is very nice, because in some ways you can, any kind of conspiracy guy, you can kind of write them off and they kind of all get lumped into the same bucket. Like the Atlantis and the vaccine freaks are all kind of in the same pool. And we, the fascist lifeguards, all kind of look down our noses at them, right?
Exactly.
Like our white
noses.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So anyway, Graham Hancock was born in Edinburgh, Scotland in 1950. And he moved to India when he was young with his parents, where his father was a surgeon. You can take a look at the picture there. He is the old white guy with the glasses.
This is his father? Oh, no.
No, it's Graham himself, currently.
That's
It's like the
Graham.
picture from Ancient Apocalypse. So I guess like a year or two ago.
Mhm.
He eventually returned to the UK, where he graduated from Durham University with a degree in sociology in 1973. Throughout this episode, I will not call him Dr. Hancock, because the doctor title means something. Just so everybody is aware. Following his graduation, he worked as a journalist for several UK newspapers like The Guardian and The Independent, two of which I'm sure everybody's familiar with today. He had some unfortunate connections to a few African dictators, including Siad Barre of Somalia, who took over that country after a coup in 1969. Mr. Hancock wrote a favorable profile of Barre for The Independent, which he later apologized for.
Okay, at least he apologized.
Yeah. He agreed it was misleading and that Barre had paid for multiple aspects of his trip in Somalia at the time. So
cool.
The more
what a crazy life to be a guy who like got a paid, all expenses paid trip to any dictatorship, right? It's like if the Saudi royal family flies you out, it's like, damn, that's crazy. Mr. Beast, I assume. I don't know. Probably,
I show
right?
Speeds, I think, on the CCP payroll right now.
Probably.
He had a tour through China. Yeah.
Honestly, President Xi or anybody who works for him, if you guys are listening, I don't know what Loreboy's here is in Chinese, but I'm willing to find out.
The return of CC Pete.
Given recent events, I got to pick sides, okay? And it's not the US. While in Ethiopia in the late 80s, Hancock began writing about the Ark of the Covenant. His first pseudo-historical book, The Sign and the Seal, The Quest for the Lost Ark of the Covenant, was, as far as I know, inspired by the Kebra Nagast, which is like the national epic of Ethiopia. So you know how like back...
You're doing the thing where you just explain a movie to us, and then at the last time you're like, actually, this is Kindergarten Cop, not Silent Hill or whatever.
Raiders,
you're just doing Indiana Jones, right?
No, Jamie, I'm not doing Indiana Jones again. No.
Okay.
So the Kebra Nagast is what's called a national epic. This is very similar to Dante's Inferno, the epic poem that like inspired a lot of like old Italian mythology. The national epic is like is an old story of Ethiopia and like much of its history. I have not read or listened to The Sign and the Seal at time of recording, so all I'll say is that Mr. Hancock very much believes that the real Ark of the Covenant is stored within the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion in Axum, Ethiopia, which is the picture of the little church that I have there that I provided to you guys.
Oh, cool.
He was never let it. So there's a bunch of writing about it, and maybe I'll do an episode about the Ark of the Covenant soon, just because it seems to be relevant to my 2025 is the archaeology year, which is absolutely fine. I love this shit. He was never let into the church and is allegedly heavily guarded. And bizarrely, a lot of the priests from this church often develop cataracts and die young. So Hancock is speculating that the energies emanating from the Ark have a similar effect on the human body as radiation, or it's like a radioactive chunk of a meteor or something. He's not an aliens guy. I do need to say this at the top. He is not an ancient aliens dude.
I thought that was his
thing.
I thought that was part of his thing anyway.
No.
I don't think radiation causes cataracts, but I don't know enough about radiation to refute that, I guess. But
I don't know anything about the Ark of the Covenant.
So can I just I know you said you haven't listened to The Sign and the Seal, but can I just tell you a little bit about The Sign and the Seal? So Sign and the Seal, Google users 93% like this book. Amazon.ca 4.5 out of 5. Goodreads
nice.
3.9 out of 5. Christianbook.com 1 out of 5. Okay. It is one review from 2002. Okay.
Okay.
Should we read it? I feel like we should read it, right?
I think we should hit us with the review of the sign and the seal, because I do want to read it /
I feel like we should give Ryan Kalin his platform finally. 23 years later, right? This guy was living in like barely a year after 9/11, and he wrote this review. Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
I have always considered the Ark of the Covenant one of the most awe-inspiring relics in the Old Testament. So naturally, this book caught my attention when I came across it. However, as I read through the first part of the book, it became very apparent that it was not written from a Christian perspective, but by a journalist who seems to have watched Raiders of the Lost Ark a few too many times. I found a lot of the history of Ethiopia to be very interesting, although it seems to be drowned in a sea of legends. I became increasingly annoyed with the author since he would continue to make far-fetched connections between the Ark and various other places in the world. He connects the Ark to France, the Knights Templar, Freemasonry, Egypt, Atlantis, and sorcery, among other diverse people, places, and events. He has little patience and shows no respect for foreign cultures and traditions, tries to barge his way into Holy of Holies in an Ethiopic church just because he couldn't gain permission from the church priests. The nail in the coffin came more than halfway through the book when the author began showing his beliefs that Moses was a magician sorcerer. Hell yeah. I finally had to stop reading when he speculated that the baptism of Jesus was Jesus's initiation into a magical cult in which Moses had been a member of, according to the author. I no longer care whether or not the Ark will be found, or even if it is still on this earth. My hope is that it will stay hidden from people like Graham Hancock. Damn, Brian. Going for him. No, it sounds like fire.
That guy just like cracked his knuckles, took a deep breath, and like spewed hatred for this guy online.
On christianbook.com.
Yeah. I was not expecting the review of christianbooks.com to be one of the best reviews I have ever heard in my life. And I am twice as excited to listen to the Sign of the Seal now and then talk about the Ark of the Covenant.
I want to make it clear. christianbook.com is still a website. I'm on the actual website where they're still selling the book, The Sign of the Seal, for $25.20 US. And there is one review from 2002, and it's this guy, which is 10 years after the book was written, also, right? So,
yeah, I was going to say his first book, his first pseudo archaeological book was in 1992. 1995 was Fingerprints of the Gods. His book prior to The Sign of the Seal was like straight up about like the corruption of like U.S. foreign aid in Africa and how it's evil. And I was like, okay, like he was based, and then some guys told him not to go into a church, and then he went insane. Like that's pretty much
that's what happened.
Exactly. Anyway, so he became fascinated. I mean, he was probably susceptible to it. So like while writing the book, but he became fascinated with antiquity, the people, their relics, and their artifacts, eventually writing Fingerprints of the Gods, where he talks about how a now lost civilization who traveled the entire world sharing their knowledge and being deified by various groups that we knew to exist was like entirely wiped out.
Right.
Okay. So thousands of years ago, on the continent of Antarctica was much warmer than it is today.
True.
Not as you may assume, because the climate at the time was warmer, because it was much further north than it is now.
Okay.
So the setup here is that Antarctica was much closer to, at least for our story here, is much closer to South America than it currently is.
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys know what Antarctica smells like, or what I've heard online?
Penguin
What
shit.
does it smell like?
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Yeah.
The
That
poop
makes
of
sense.
penguins.
A lot of
Penguin
penguins
shit.
there.
It's too cold for bacteria, so it doesn't really like decay or rot or anything. So like apparently the entire archipelago smells just like undecomposed penguin shit, which is just like digested herring.
Imagine if it was farther north, it would be even it would be really stinky, right? Or I guess it would
No, because the
degrade
bacteria
that.
would then break it down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is why like all of us are pooping outside, obviously. Like
And it doesn't
like a
smell.
regular guy, and my apartment doesn't smell like farts. Doesn't smell like penguin shit all the time.
My dog's been
you
pooping
told me
like a
to
horse.
shit in my own house where I live and eat? Oh, I don't fucking think so, okay? Storm drain's plenty fine for me, Chief, okay? I'm good.
I dropped
thanks.
on right in the middle of the street today because we're crossing just like a horse. It
He's
was
old.
time. It just
He's
came out.
old.
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah,
scoop?
exactly.
Did you
Yeah.
scoop in traffic? Okay. Good for you.
Well,
Not
we
so
had
busy.
to get to the side and then run back out and scoop after the cars had passed.
Okay.
It was a
It
Frogger
didn't get hit?
situation.
Okay, yeah. So the people of Antarctica, whose name has long since been forgotten, were experienced sailors, shipbuilders, mathematicians, astronomers, agriculturalists, farmers, and architects. They were good at everything.
Everything. Sure. They built pyramids, I'm assuming, right?
Eventually. Their technology level would be at the time comparable to the pre-industrial British Empire. So like fleets of massive sailing ships traveling around the world. So it's not steam power. It's not like atomic power. It's not too futuristic. It is very much still like wood, metal, and cloth. Basically, the level of technology from the Antarcticans. It's funny how you read the Christian.com review of The Sign and the Seal. Is I will be referring to the people of Antarctica as the magicians going forward.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay, cool. We got a
The sequel to
line.
Fingerprints of the Gods,
Yeah.
Magicians of the Gods, is a direct reference to these people and how their advanced knowledge of the world was perceived as magical once they'd made contact with the civilizations we're more familiar with today, like the Inca, Egyptians, and Mesopotamians.
Cool.
Okay. I didn't. Thus far in the book, I did not encounter anything about Jesus being a magician. He may have just
Okay. Well, Moses was a magician. He indoctrinated and baptized Jesus, but the review doesn't say that Jesus was a magician. Just that Moses was.
Yeah.
Water to wine, one fish to feed a whole crowd.
A red fish into a blue fish, a one fish into a two fish.
That's right. The green eggs and the ham. I think, yeah, we've got a case.
Washing some dirty feet. That's a magic trick, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to read the alt history Bible of where Jesus turned one portion of green eggs and ham into enough for an entire crowd.
Oh, Graham, I am.
That's pretty
Not
good.
Enough. That's very good.
That Graham I am. That Graham I am. I do not like that Graham I am.
What the fuck was I gonna say? Dang, anyway,
Magicians.
It's gone. It's in the past. Oh, excuse me. Most of which we're going to be talking about today predates Jesus by several millennia. So the indoctrination to the magician's cult that would occur later on in around 33, 34 AD. Right after once Jesus is bored in his 30s and is ready to be pilled, is when he joins Moses's magical cult. Right.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It's just like that. So for centuries prior to 12,000 BC, the magicians sailed around the world, mapping coastlines and building immense structures, some of which would inspire or even be used as the base of modified monuments, like Jamie had said, the Great Sphinx of Giza in Egypt, whose lower section shows evidence of centuries of erosion, while the upper section does not. Another thing, there's another temple in South America, which I heard in the book but did not update the script for, shows evidence of being subsumed and covered by lava flows that would then solidify and have construction put on top of them, and then lava again, and then have construction put on top of them, making it appear as though they are much, much older than the estimate of being like, built in 200 AD, but how did people spend, how is the temple built into several, accurately dated layers of solidified lava, right? Which is fucking cool.
Yeah, sure.
No matter how you look at it.
Yeah. Ancient people did incredible things. That, Graham Hancock and I can agree, okay? Yeah. Ancient civilizations did amazing, amazing things, no doubt.
Yeah. And I did not look too into this, the lower portion, as far as I know, the lower portion of the Sphinx, the lion body, or at least like the lower parts of the legs that everything's built on top of, is more heavily eroded than the human head on it.
Okay.
Also, I didn't want to do too much debunking here. You know what I found out today? I was today years old. That the Sphinx nose was not shot off by Napoleon. It was gone like 100 years before he got there, because there was drawings of it from the 1600s where the nose is gone. So that's just
I'd heard. I had heard. I think when I heard that Napoleon blew it off, it was in that same context that this was false, and I was like, I didn't even know that was a thing that people said. But
that's the first time I heard it too.
Just a thing. That's the nose is just gone, and people still don't know.
We're allowed to debunk real life Napoleon, but I'm not allowed to debunk Graham Hancock. Yes,
No, you're not.
Now for Jesus's next trick, he'll make the nose of the Sphinx disappear.
Yeah.
He's just one giant stone thumb.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So the magician technology incorporated aspects of mathematics, sacred geometry, as well as spiritual powers, which allowed them to accomplish great feats.
Sorry, did he come up with sacred geometry, or is that a...
No, it's a real thing.
It's like a pagan
Mandalas or
thing, right?
mandalas in like Hindu mythology or Buddhist and Hindu mythology, like mandalas are officially considered sacred geometry. Sorry, I said technically as like my colonizer was coming out there by accident. Mandalas are absolutely sacred geometry.
Okay.
It's just some people would believe, and in this instance here, the magicians themselves would be able to use it to channel more spiritual powers, basically. So,
or they just remember that they did, and it's the Mandela effect.
Exactly. They could reach through time and space to talk to the Berenstain Bears, and then
Right.
use bear labor to build the pyramids. Obviously.
Also, I'm not sure if I was saying geography, but it's geometry, right? I think I was saying geography.
I have it written here as sacred geometry. I may have misspoke, but it is sacred
I think
geometry.
Just saying. Yeah. I realize that I'm an idiot.
That's all
I want to say.
We're all idiots.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So hallucinogenic plants like peyote and ayahuasca, sourced during their travels, help the great builders of the magicians connect to a non-physical realm and channel spiritual beings into and their powers into the world of our own. So ayahuasca contains dimethyltryptamine or DMT, which is why I post that Tool song for everybody. Because the song Rosetta Stoned is a Tool song just about a DMT trip in which aliens hang out with Maynard James Keenan.
Cool.
DMT is a powerful hallucinogen used in spiritual rituals throughout Central and South America by shamans and also white people who want to throw up and have seizures in the jungle.
Yeah. Can I just say, nothing to debunk here. Absolutely. It gives you magic powers. That's true. That's just true, honestly. So.
Real and true.
So, to be fair here, many people described interacting with similar beings during DMT trips. So there's like serpents and like beings made of light that a lot of people talk about encountering and speaking with. DMT is an episode I've always wanted to do. I've never really looked into it and like the folklore behind DMT trips, but it's always been a thing I've found.
You just do DMT and they're just quiet for an hour and then we
just
put
write
it
a
out.
whole episode.
a lot of like groaning and moaning and just people consoling you.
A lot of groaning and moaning, shitting my pants.
So the folklore and mythology behind DMT kind of probably inspires the consistent trips. Like, I'm not out here saying just like, no, DMT does decalcify your pineal gland and open your third eye, and we're all talking to the same like celestial serpent. But the fact that people talk about it, and it's kind of like probably in the back of your mind when you do DMT, may be why everybody is talking to celestial serpents and like little orbs made of light, right?
Not to debunk again, but just to think, like, I think human nature is a thing. Like, people, when they do hallucinogens, will often see faces in things, like faces in trees. But it's like, we're programmed to look for faces. And when people feel a presence, it's like, yeah, we're very social creatures, and your brain is lighting up like a Christmas tree. Maybe you are feeling someone right there. So I think, to me, that's more why there's commonalities between trips rather than tapping into some plane of existence that we can't normally see. Yeah.
That's correct. I mean, maybe you and I just don't have enough magician DNA throughout our lineages as to why we cannot.
Hey, I'll bunk it. I'll bunk it if we're talking DMT now. I mean, as a matter of perspective, what's the difference, right? If you tap into another plane, or if you believe you tap into another plane, there's no difference. So, like it works, like in that sense, right?
DMT users actually, like 30% of them think they went to Atlantis, actually.
Yeah, 30% of them have huge hogs.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just crazy because 50% of them are women. So it's a very small percentage that actually have small hogs.
I gotta take this stuff, man. I need the medicine.
Communing with the celestial serpent gives you a bigger hog. Officially, Lore Boy's bunked. Okay.
Yeah. DMT stands for Dick Mega Totally.
Yep. Yep.
I don't know if there's enough about DMT for a full lore episode, but it's really a thing I've been curious about.
There must be, right?
I don't know if there's enough DMT information to have our episode. I wonder if we could tap into the DMT realm and have the Serpent God give our listeners huge hogs. Man or woman.
Yeah. Let's tap into DMT and make our own fictional world, guys.
Yeah. All right. I like it.
Tap into the Speed Force.
Anyway, it said that the chanting So this is like one of the spiritual powers that they had tapped into here. It is said that the chanting of the skilled monk architects allowed for the acoustic levitation of massive objects like stones, which allowed the construction of temples and pyramids all around the world. It's likely that this is the skill that they taught to the Olmecs, the people who lived in the areas of Veracruz and Tabasco in what is now Mexico. I forgot to get a picture, but if you look up the Olmec heads, the Olmec carved massive heads out of volcanic basalt they'd mined in quarries miles away from their population centers, and the heads themselves are said to have a distinctly African look to them, suggesting regular contact with people from across the Atlantic. The Olmec, however...
Sure, yeah, I don't know. I don't see the distinctly African. looks like a big stone head. I knew these from Spelunky, because I think the final boss in Spelunky 1 is Olmec, and it's a big head like this. And then the first boss in Spelunky 2 is Olmec.
Regardless of what the heads look like here, this is just a podcast about facts. Like I said, this is the history of the world. Okay, I don't see they look African.
I don't see it,
and it suggests contact with people that don't necessarily look like them. We cannot, however, and this is a legitimately convenient thing for our storytelling purposes here. The Olmec disappeared and left behind no writing, not even their own name. So even our modern name Olmec was given to them by the Aztec who came afterwards and had contact with the Spanish, basically. So the Olmec straight up came and went without the West TM ever seeing it.
And the Aztec was a name given by the Spanish to those people. And then I actually named the Spanish.
Cool. Why did you choose Spaniard for them?
No, not Spaniard. They're Spanish.
Okay, but why did you choose? Why are they not fully spanned in your mind? I just want to get into your thought process here. I think it's a really cool thing that you did for them, honestly, giving them a name like that. But I'm wondering I want to pick your brain.
They traveled the whole span. They traveled the whole span of the ocean to get to the Aztec. Is why I call that.
Oh, okay. You see, I thought that they were named that before they got to see the Aztecs, but no, it was the other way around. Okay, that's cool.
It's all retro. It's all retro naming. Like that. Yeah, the old weren't called that when they were then. You know?
We're learning a lot of equally true facts today. Every fact we've learned today is as equally true as every other one, including that fact. Yeah.
And lifeguards are the worst people.
True. That's the truest of them all.
Yeah. In an odd twist, actually, Spanish was the name that the Aztecs gave to the white colonizers, and they just decided to own it and rename their previous country.
Christopher Columbus got back on his boat like, we're Spanish. Yeah, whatever. We love it. Call us that more, honestly.
Tales of visitation from the magicians over the centuries have been passed down through various peoples, even in some cases transforming into creation myths. In the first quarter of Fingerprints of the Gods, Hancock describes the arrival of a magician who would come to be called Viracocha, pale god of the Andes of South America. It is the stamp, actually. It is the kind of yellow stamp that I posted there. It's just a very good kind of representation of a relief carving of who's allegedly Viracocha.
Okay.
Played a lot of World of
Sorry, Viracocha is a Bolivian creation myth, and Graham Hancock is saying it is one of these precursor people.
He's correct. Viracocha was
a forerunner, if you will,
a real guy, and he would be a forerunner to the Viracocha people, who are the ones who carved the Nazca lines, the 1,000-foot wide monkey line in the middle of the
desert. I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Teacher, I have a question. Does levitating rocks count as magic rocks? I do have a beer open, so just.
Actually, sure.
Okay, sure. Well, I'll take a drink. I'll talk with the other boys.
I was ready to talk to someone I knew had Viracocha as a gamer tag, and I didn't know where that came from until today.
Yeah. Viracocha, as one of the Antarctic magicians traveling the world, is actually known as the pale god of the Andes of South America. Because even initially, he is described as pale-skinned and bearded, which made him easily recognized as a foreigner in South America, since the pre-Inca natives would have been darker-skinned and generally without facial hair like many native people today. So a distinctly Middle Eastern or Greek or Antarctic-looking fella would be the pale-skinned god of the Andes.
So, like, when the Haida people of British Columbia talk about like a white raven, is that also because of the white man and Europeans? They're like, well, this is a this is a corvid from far to the east.
It's entirely possible. It's an Antarctic raven. I don't know. I'm not an ornithologist. Okay.
Oh,
and to his credit, Graham Hancock, at time of recording, has not claimed to know anything about birds either. So don't worry about that.
It's a point against him. Doesn't know about birds, huh? Strange.
Yeah.
Strange.
Viracocha was also his name apparently means like of the sea foam. He was said to have come from the foam of the sea in a similar fashion to Greek goddess Aphrodite. Similarities between myths are, at least in this world, very much considered to be evidence of the magician civilization, in that they would tell people similar things and be perceived in similar ways throughout their travels as they were, teaching agriculture and whatnot. Viracocha was said to be able to call down fire from the sky. He even did so when he was captured by natives. Obviously, this astounded the pre-Inca people, who would go on to worship him as a god. Viracocha is like the pre-Inca. He is the creation god. He's the god of gods. He is their Zeus
deity, right?
Yes, he's their supreme deity, exactly. And through his teachings, he would begin the construction of Tiwanaku in the mountains of Bolivia, which is one of the... Frankly, I will, like, if I'm going to pull out of Graham Hancock podcast mode, the stonework and the construction in South America is unfucking believable. It's so cool because it's like jungle and mountains and snow and rivers, and obviously Egypt at the time was much wetter, like much more of a river delta and not just the desert that we know now. But the fact you can build this shit just in the side of a fucking mountain, is incredible. It's
again, ancient people did amazing things. That's what we can all. That's what I can agree with Graham Hancock on. Ancient people did absolutely amazing feats of all sorts of stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Mathematics, engineering, architecture, absolutely. No contest.
Yeah. I mean, math and astronomy are pretty consistent throughout the ages, because it's really hard to reinvent just addition. Even after 70,000 years.
Yeah. I'm glad Moses cast a spell and gave us math. Personally.
It's just like the 10 Commandments on the stone tablets. It's just a bunch of graph paper carved into the front of them.
It's Chris Angel writing 4 underneath 2 + 2 and like making faces at a camera.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose you could say Viracocha would be the original mind freak.
True.
Easily, directly from Atlantis. So Tiwanaku in the mountains of Bolivia was obviously constructed using methods imported from Antarctica sometime prior to 10,000 years ago. The conventional theory states that Tiwanaku was built in the 1st century AD, between like 40 and like 90. But given the technology level at this time, it's much more likely that it would have been magicians from Antarctica who would have done it.
Okay. Yeah.
However, some sites where magicians may have visited have carvings of animals. This is like the counterpoint. The counterpoint to the point I just made, that like most people would say it was built in 50 AD. Though, I don't say that. Some of the
animals here, and 50 AD was after all animals went extinct. So how could it be, right?
Yeah, there's pictures of birds all over the world. You know what? There must have been one unified civilization. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like,
Atlantis brought us birds. They didn't exist before that.
All birds come from Antarctica. They're all penguins, and that's why all of Antarctica smells like bird shit.
I was in a car this week. I was doing a driving lesson very late in life. I'm like 34. I had to do a partnered drive where there's a 17-year-old in car with me who like criticizes my driving, and then we switch and I criticize his driving. But this isn't ties in because at one point while I was driving, he's like, "Do you think pigeons are real in China?" I'm like, "What?" He's like, "They've never been able to find a pigeon that's gone to sleep ever in China. I think that they're government plants. They're filming everything."
And this I mean,
everybody's pilled. What the fuck happened?
No, so for context, this person was in 6th grade when COVID happened, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a child we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's like when my daughter comes up to me and starts talking about dragons, I just say, "That's nice, honey." Right?
Yeah.
I just say, "Great, dear. You're right. They do sometimes shoot fire out of their butts," which is obviously wrong about that. And they only shoot it out of their mouths.
Pretty crazy. He also got in the car, and the first thing he said is like, "Oh, first time driving in a while. I had a really bad concussion."
The heavily
At first, I
concussed
thought
50-year-old.
seatbelts wasn't for me. Now I just think pigeons in China ain't real. Anyway,
Anyway, nice driving, Jimbo.
First thing he did was step on the gas too hard and apologize when he almost hit the car in front. Yeah, but he was all right. He's going. He's on.
You were speculating whether or not you had to fucking bully him from the back seat at some point, right?
Yeah, no, he said I had very nice turns, that he liked my turns, so I like
Ooh.
him. And he's going to school in the States, all paid for football, so good for him. He's going to get some more concussions.
Oh, okay. He'll fit right in with the other guys. The other guys with brain damage are going to love his pigeon theory.
But if you're out there, send us a picture of a pigeon sleeping, please, because
please.
we haven't seen it.
We need to know.
This is like that, like nobody knows how eels have sex thing, right? Where was I here? Right. Anyway, on the subject of animals that nobody should be particularly familiar with, but one of which is apparently sleeping pigeons. The magicians, magician sites, or at least sites that were set up using magician engineering before the end of the last ice age, specifically. Some of the carvings seem to depict ancient, like now extinct animals that we would have thought human beings did not interact with. Some carvings, especially in South America, depict ancient camels called macrochenia, which is a very weird looking thing. It's like a llama with a trunk for some reason. Nice experiment in nature. Didn't work out, which is too bad, but it seems cute. Cool. As well as paintings of people like directly next to like some of those giant ground sloths.
Macrochenia got a real dick nose, huh? Poor thing.
They're kind of wacky looking. I didn't put a picture of them, but if you want to pull up the clip there and leave it for everybody,
I got one for Jimbo here. Real dick nose on this
looking animal.
I've never seen Ice Age, and we started watching it last night. It's like an old movie now. It's like around the time like Shrek came out, right? Like it's early animation.
I used to like it a lot, yeah.
A lot of dick-nosed freaks in that one. There's a lot of animals that have like the weird trunks.
Mammoth trunk is fine.
Mammoth. Yeah, he's talking about Manny the mammoth from Ice Age. He's talking about weird trunks.
Oh, there's other things too.
Yeah, macrochenia is a very weird-looking animal. Ground sloth we're all familiar with. So this suggests that the people who carved these sites, were familiar with these animals and they were still around. And obviously, it would be insane to say that, like, well, these animals were along longer than we thought. We have fossil evidence, and the fossils stop appearing after a certain amount of time. Obviously, that does mean the magicians were helping people build temples and painting animals they saw in real life.
With their sound-based telekinesis.
Yes. What did I call it here? Oh, the acoustic levitation.
It's more... Right. Certainly more logical.
Respect on the name, dude.
Certainly more logical than saying they found one of the ground sloth fossils and somebody took a crack at what it might look like, right? Like, definitely makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah, the guy who was talking about the pigeons never going to sleep, he didn't have a concussion. He had acoustic levitation. He was able to think better than the rest of us. Yeah,
exactly. In parts of Mexico, so this is after this. In parts of Mexico now, so this is north of Bolivia, which is where Tiwanaku is. There may have been a second wave of magicians who arrived via a boat described as having no oars from across the Eastern Sea, which would be the Atlantic Ocean. The leader of these visitors was also described as a pale man with a long beard, this time wearing a long black linen robe. He would go on to be called Quetzalcoatl, whose symbol was the feathered serpent, another kind of like prime deity of another like mythological canon, this one being in Mexico, which I believe are the Aztecs.
I had no idea.
Quetzalcoatl went extinct like 3,000 years ago, right? So way before 50 AD.
Absolutely.
I did not expect there to be this much overlap with Lord of the Rings and what Graham Hancock believes in. It's like wizards coming on boats from the west or whatever, from the east.
A ship that seems to propel itself via some sort of acoustic levitation across the sea.
Yeah.
Everybody, including Tolkien, is writing in a post magician world, Jamie. Like we all take inspiration from the same place.
True. Yeah,
Okay.
true.
If you think about it.
Life imitates art.
um,
You shall not look into it further.
Another bearded and robed magician, Itzamano, a great healer, represented himself with a symbol of a rattlesnake. Serpents being associated with healing appear to have been seeded throughout the ancient world by the magicians. These men and their companions stayed for a decade before being driven away by another group of magicians. So this is Itzamano, the healer. He was driven away by another group of magicians holding tools referred to as fire serpents. I personally could not find any images of these carvings. However, Mr. Hancock describes the carvings that he saw while in South America as looking very much like a kind of technology, opposed to a tool, which I guess for us would mean more of a, I don't want to say gun.
A gun. That's what I've been waiting. I've been waiting to say it this whole time. I've been waiting patiently for my turn. Fire serpent, great name for, instead of move over thunderstick, it's fire serpent now, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Going back to the ancient Greeks here, the rod of Asclepius depicts a serpent coiled around a staff. This is the name of the ancient Greek hero and also god, the son of Apollo and Coronis. Asclepius, I guess it is. I spelled this two different ways. Who knows? Came to represent healing and medicinal arts as a god. You guys will definitely recognize the ambulance symbol with the snake stick in it, as well as a statue in the episode Pigs. It's not too far-fetched in that case, in this context, to claim that Asclepius was descended from the magician.
What the hell?
Yeah,
that guy rules.
It's not too far-fetched in this context to claim that Nicki Minaj was descended from the magician.
Good. I'm glad you wrote the joke. I'm glad we always are on the same page, Pete.
Or perhaps was directly educated by them. This, for me, is actually lore boys quackery. Graham Hancock, at least as far as I got within Fingerprints of the Gods, did not mention the fact that Asclepius may have been educated or directly descended from the magicians themselves as they were in their travels. But the fact that South American people and also the Mediterranean peoples represented medicinal arts, medicinal gods, and like medicinal imagery with like snakes coiled around staves is, I will say, at least very fucking interesting. That snakes and healing have always, and obviously, what is the caduceus or whatever, the two snakes around the winged staff is another one that represents medicine. Like it's like snakes and healing have been very much linked around the world, and I think that's very interesting personally.
Yeah, the caduceus is also Greek though, right? So that's the same as the other guys, but it is cool. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Just the two examples you cited are from the same people. But.
Yeah. Oh, but also the serpent god of healing. Where was his name? Itzamano, the great healer, also represents himself in South America with the symbol.
It's Amano.
So, despite their greatness, the magicians and their civilization were very quickly and thoroughly destroyed, to the point where very little, if any, physical evidence of their existence remains today. Okay. Some of the magicians did survive the cataclysm and shared their advanced knowledge with many of their precursor tribes around the world, who, using this knowledge, would grow into some of the most famous ancient civilizations that we know today. The two theories presented by Hancock are the Earth's crust displacement... Earth's crust displacement theory and the Younger Dryas impact theory, or possibly some combination of both. But I will tell you how the world ends after the break. Welcome back from the break, everybody. I got a little dummy gummy going in, because where we're going, we don't need thoughts, okay? We're beyond that point.
Not over there? We don't need her? I'll tell her to get out of here. She's been staring at me all night, honestly. Giving me the heebie-jeebies. What's she doing over there? Huh? Either come over here or go somewhere else. Sorry, go ahead.
The Earth's crust displacement theory, which I did not know was going to be so difficult when I wrote that, claims that large chunks of the Earth's I just can't say Earth's crust. Fuck me, man. Large chunks of the Earth's crust shifted very suddenly and very violently, causing natural disasters such as earthquakes and floods around the world. And to be fair, this does go against conventional plate tectonics. However, it has happened a couple of times in the past throughout history, and we do have evidence of this occurring. The home continent of the magicians, Antarctica, was shifted southward to where it is now, conveniently obliterating all evidence of their society, as the surface rock was subsumed and melted down below the surface within the Earth's mantle. So I know we all want Atlantis batteries, but oops, they melted at the center of the Earth, so you're just going to have to take my word for it, okay?
Yeah, they sink too deep and too greedily, right?
Yeah, this is just like, this is dog ate my homework on a geological timescale, and it's so fucking funny. Now, very rapid and violent shifts in the Earth crust have happened plenty of times throughout Earth's history, like I said. A great name for a place that I didn't realize I was still too immature to actually handle. Lake Titicaca, located very close to Tiwanaku, which was a magician landing site, is the highest elevation lake in the world, sitting 12,507 feet above sea level, or, we haven't done this in a while, 34.74 football fields.
Okay. That's
Directly.
high.
Yeah.
That's high.
Yeah.
Up for a lake?
Yeah,
Is
exactly.
that must be from the water level, not from the deepest point, right?
From sea, yeah, exactly. So it's the surface to sea level, which sea level is also the surface,
Surface
right?
to surface. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Tip to tip, surface to surface. I gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. They're docking. It's tip to tip.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I looked into it, and oh, excuse me. So fossils in the area in and around Titicaca, so like the stones on the outside of it, and also the stones at the bottom, actually have like saltwater animal fossils within them. So the fossils in the area and parts of this, show that at some point the rocks that are underneath and around Titicaca were in the Pacific Ocean. And of course, now they're at the top of a mountain range, and mountain ranges are caused when two tectonic plates, two chunks of the Earth's crust, slam into each other and go up rather than down.
Yeah,
right?
Usually one of them goes up, right? I think that's how it usually works. But
exactly, but I think mountain ranges are crashed when they both kind of smash into each other and force rocks go up. Like when India crashed into Asia, it created the Himalayas, and those went very much upwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the more interesting things, and this is sad that they haven't been seen in decades.
I think it was acoustic levitation.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe in that. You ever seen a mountain sleeping?
Yeah, not in China, that's for sure.
No.
Don't have sleeping mountains there. All their mountains are awake all the time. Yep. Government plants. The mountains are
listening
watching
to your phone calls.
Yeah. Would make sense them being so involved in Nepal and Tibet, right?
That's true.
Just all over that shit.
So one of the more interesting things that sadly nobody has seen in decades is within Lake Titicaca, what may have been the only freshwater seahorses lived in the lake, but have since been destroyed by a foreignly introduced salmon species.
Horses living underwater. Okay, Graham Hancock, whatever you say, buddy.
Salmons eat horses?
Yeah, you're telling me there's horses living underwater. Okay, Graham Hancock, whatever you say, buddy.
Dude, with the magician technology, anything is possible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, the male could give birth all of a sudden. It's Adam and Eve, Graham and Hancock. Okay.
Graham and Hancock.
Yeah.
There is no way that the friggin' bagelfish was able to take out a seahorse. Dude, that's crazy.
Bagelfish?
Yeah, you say on bagels. They're great with some cream cheese, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. After the Spanish arrived and got to Lake Titicaca, they introduced this invasive cream cheese and lox species into Lake Titicaca, which killed all the seahorses.
Yeah.
Philadelphia cream cheese, but they pronounce it Philadelphia.
Of course. It's really cool. These may have been the only freshwater seahorses that we know of. So, like, the area that does suggest that the area that now contains Lake Titicaca had to have gone up really fucking quickly to isolate a population of animals, and then as the salinity in the lake dropped, they had to just evolve and adapt to being freshwater. I think there's some seahorses in the Thames River Delta in the UK. I don't know what the water chemistry is, so I did not want to lay down. Honestly, I mean, if we're all making fucking wild claims here, actually, what the fuck am I talking about?
England having
the only
sorry.
water seahorses in existence are in Lake Titicaca. Fucking at me.
England having seahorses is the craziest fact that you've told me today. You know what I mean? That's way too exotic an animal for that like white toast fucking island. Okay, like I cannot believe that London of all places gets seahorses.
I also already know the answer, but just for the listeners, can you explain what a river delta is?
It's where the river meets the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know that.
Dear listener,
Yeah.
My guess, the water's brackish, but I don't know. And also,
at the
not
mouth
at
of
the
the
top
River
of the
Thames,
mountain.
yeah, probably.
Yeah. So the crustal displacement that shifted the Antarctic continent caused significant earthquakes and floods around the world, inspiring flood myths and even Plato's Atlantis. So what is very interesting here is even in the history of the world here, Plato writing about Atlantis was still inspired by the Antarctic magicians.
Of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, going back to my previous episode about Indiana Jones, sorry, fellas. Atlantis is still fake. We didn't do it.
Yeah, exactly. This is like an in-canon fictional tome, right? Is what we're saying?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. In the Graham Hancock canon, Plato's Atlantis is a fictional piece of work.
So, to be fair, Plato's Atlantis is a description he heard of the Antarctic continent from traveling magicians. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So
that's how Pythagoras figured out the triangle, too. Yeah.
True. Yeah.
Yeah.
Add three six together. What do you get? Pythagoras. What the fuck, dude? Okay, so not an in canon fictional book, but an in canon history book.
An in canon, precisely. Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah.
I'm following.
So also I put this point in here late in the game here. It is my own editorial choice to not refer to the magicians as Atlanteans, just for the record. As far as I am now, about 40% of the way through Fingerprints of the Gods, Atlantis has not been mentioned. Okay? So just for the listener at home, if you had your Atlantis mentioned scorecard up, put it away. It's not coming in again.
That's it. It's not the free square on this bingo card.
Hell no. So despite the distraction of their homeland, the surviving magicians continued to travel the world and teach various tribes of hunter-gatherers about farming, which is the most important one, astronomy, mathematics, cartography, medicine, and architecture. Well, huge stone monuments like the pyramids or Göbekli Tepe in Turkey are incredible. Some of these smaller pieces of the magician's legacy still exist. One piece of their legacy is the Piri Reis map, made by the Ottoman cartographer Piri Reis, which is on brand. I do have a picture of it. There's a reference of the map here. This is legitimately like super fucking cool. His map was a compilation, actually, based on multiple medieval maps of the world, Arabic maps of India, and even newer Portuguese maps of Asia. This, I think, I put 16th century here, but it was like 1517-ish. It was the earlier part of the 1500s where he put the map together here.
Okay.
Shockingly, the map appears to depict the coastline of Antarctica with no ice, sitting much closer to South America than it is now. This likely came from the medieval maps, who would have been based on even more maps, like the Greeks or the Carthaginians. I think Hanno the Navigator is like a Carthaginian sailor who went from like North Africa all the way around the coast and is like the first man alive to ever describe a gorilla, basically.
He's still alive? Holy moly. Good for him.
He is, yeah. He's been on Joe
carnivore
Rogan, I think,
diet.
19 times.
He's selling dick pills now.
Capitalism comes for us all, honestly. You got like Hannibal. He's just like, Blue Chew, make you as hard as one of my elephant trunks that I crossed the Alps with.
Blue Chew, you can get Alpha Brain from all the ladies.
So this likely came from... Oh, excuse me, I read that already. So the Greeks and the Carthaginians, these more ancient societies, more ancient than medieval England, which is when I talk about medieval maps, I'm talking about medieval Europe, like Western TM Europe. The Greeks and the Carthaginians would have had contact with like magician refugees after the destruction of their civilization. Terra Australis, or like the southern land, was speculated about on like maps of the world for literal thousands of years. Like since men have been making maps, Terra Australis has been just like there's gotta be something there down at the bottom.
Cool.
And like the existence of Antarctica was only officially confirmed in the 1800s. Because it's really fucking hard to get to, basically. The displacement event. Sorry,
just to talk about Terra Australis a little bit more too, because I love this of like being like, well, it was theorized, and so like it must have been like to talk about these like ancient magicians who have been traveling the world. Like again, ancient people did incredible things. Like the Polynesians went from fucking Polynesia to Hawaii at some point.
I know.
You know, at some point, 3,000 fucking years ago in a canoe. You know, like that is incredible to accomplish. And like to say like, oh, not one of them made it to like mainland Asia and talked about the fact that like, yeah, there's a bunch of land down there. Is like, come on, guys, come on. But they're magic
so
too.
crazy. To
I've seen Moana.
Man, yeah, the amount of human life that would have had to been thrown at just finding Hawaii is just like crazy, dude. Yeah, can't imagine.
Yeah, it especially because like if you don't even have like a telescope, like it's impossible to see. You just have to fucking go.
Yeah, I've heard at night, like, okay, so if you're ever, I was in a swimming pool today and I was talking about this with someone. If you're
I was thinking about the curvature of the Earth.
A friend of the show, Bobby, told me about this. There's a guy who was just sailing by himself one time and he went to go take a leak and like he hit a rough wave. He just fell out and he's nowhere near land. So if you're ever in this situation, the way that you swim is on your back. You try and float on your back and you just use your hands. I think it's called like sculling or skulking or something like that.
Salt in the water like holds you up if you spread out. It helps you float.
And that's the most like energy efficient way. Like you'll be able to swim the longest that way. And then the other thing is at nighttime, look for a dark spot in the sky because the darkest spot in the sky is going to be the direction that the land is. So if it's bright all around and you see one part of like near the horizon is slightly darker than the rest, go in that direction.
Cool.
Yeah. So I guess
if anyone right there, Bobby, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like if someone was like in theory on a canoe all night long and they were able to just like locate the darkest part of the sky and head towards that and they figure that out somehow, maybe, but still incredible. Like I could never even. I don't even think I could get.
I would think that would only work like before curvature of the Earth starts to like at the distances that the Polynesians went. I think like curvature of the Earth would trump that. You know what I mean? Because that's for sure. Like the landmass goes thousands of feet above.
You'd have
like,
to be close enough.
Right? Yeah.
You'd have to get like in the neighborhood of Hawaii.
Yeah. But yeah, thinking about like I don't know the actual curvature of the Earth, but thinking about like going from like Jakarta to Hawaii. I'm pretty sure Hawaii is well below the horizon. Right?
Yeah, for sure at those distances. Yeah. Great tip. I can't help but picture friend of the show Bobby screaming at because he listens to the podcast, screaming at the radio right now, saying like, "No, I said don't go to the dark spot."
You know what? Now that you say it, I'm not sure, but
no,
I remember him.
That makes sense, though, right? Like, I think that does make sense. But
Bobby, at me at my personal phone number if I'm wrong.
Yeah, that's Bobby's version of Discord. This is texting us.
Or the other Discord server.
So the displacement event that would have shifted Antarctica down to where it is now. Actually, Hancock's writings inspired the film 2012 by Roland Emmerich, which is just like a big dumb action movie, which is about the continental displacement. But in that film, as well as in some of Hancock's work, or in some of the history here, it is like the cataclysmic polar shift, where the North and South poles switch places very quickly. And that causes earthquakes and floods and continents. I think the poles do actually shift very slowly, and it has never harmed a hair on anybody's head. It's never put a pigeon to sleep.
It's crazy to think that it would affect the tectonic plates at all, but
yeah,
they do shift.
Exactly. So Hancock's second theory, so the second possible thing that would have wiped out the magicians, is the one that he talks about like more frequently now. I actually didn't know about the displacement event until I started listening to the book. The big one here that he talks about on big smart guy podcasts like the Joe Rogan Experience and Lex Friedman is the Younger Dryas impact theory.
Okay.
So the Younger Dryas is a period in Earth's history between 12,900 and 11,700 years ago. So it's prime magician time at this point, where the climate of the Earth changed very dramatically. And you can see this in ice cores and in fossilized wood. Like you through fossils and ice cores and or even like geological cores that you drill into the ground, you can really get a very good history of the world because bits of particulate accumulate like a millimeter at a time. So you can get a lot of history when you've got a 10-foot long ice core that is 10 feet of millimeter thick, like annual ice, basically. You can tell, you know what's in the atmosphere because like air bubbles get trapped between snowflakes and then they get squished and they just sit there forever. It's like an even longer scale period of like the mosquito in amber from Jurassic Park sort of thing.
Real archaeology, very cool.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
That's how when I last cleaned my
with the magicians, Ethan?
Real archaeology, very cool. That's all I'm saying. Okay, not going any further than that, guys.
It really works. That's how I last know when I clean my room. Is I measure the layer of sediment. Yeah.
Takes a core sample.
Yeah, exactly.
I take a core sample out of my bed to see if I'm going to wash my sheets.
15 layers of
girlfriend layers.
I gotta wash.
So yeah, temperatures during the Younger Dryas, temperatures in the northern hemisphere of the planet plummeted very rapidly, generally about 3 degrees Celsius in North America. And just like so everybody's aware, like when we worry about climate change, we worry about like a 1 degree shift in the global average, right? Which would be devastating, right? Just think if things went 3 degrees down over like the entirety of North America, or more dramatically in Greenland, 10 degrees Celsius over the course of 3 fucking years. The average temperature plummeted.
You end up with an ice sheet 1.5 kilometers thick up on top of our heads where we're living right now.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And then you have to. Your neighbor's a bunch of dick-nosed freaks. I saw them.
Exactly.
Movie.
Yeah. And the music's there's a baby in the mix. There's a saber-toothed tiger, unlikely friends. There's a little squirrel just trying to get his nut, you know?
Yep, we all are. The first gooner, honestly.
The first gooner scrat from Iceland. He invented it. It's pretty cool, honestly.
It's like 4 movies he's just fucking hedging the whole time.
Yeah, we all stand on the shoulders of that one fucked up squirrel.
So over the period of the Younger Dryas, the population of Europe was greatly reduced. Ethan buried the lead a little bit there, where it is due to the fact that they're. Sorry,
I buried the continent too.
Yeah, exactly. There was a massive fucking ice sheet that we will get into in a second here, because when I was reading about it and looked at pictures of what they thought it would look like, my brain was just like crazy because I can't process the information. It's impossible.
You see, like we're Canadian, so I feel like we all know somebody. Like I have home videos of my dad in Montreal as a kid with snow up to the top of the telephone poles, right? Yeah. And like just like in the streets of Montreal with snow, like everyone's front doors were just buried from like this massive snowfall. And that is almost too much for my brain to comprehend, right? Like I've never seen snow like that. I know like some places in the States still get it.
So I have, because when I lived in Northern Canada, in Kuujjuaq, right, I know there's like multiple times where I woke up where in my bedroom, which was the second floor of the house I grew up in, snowbanks at my window.
To the window,
so 15 feet of snow just like blown up against the side of the fucking building.
Even this past winter, like as someone who lives in a basement apartment, we got pretty big back-to-back snowfalls, and I did not have vision outside my apartment from how much snow we got. But it's been worse.
Yeah, that's it. Now, what like 250 times higher than that is what we're talking about here. So.
You cover your entire apartment building up to the 6th floor. Yeah,
everything's covered.
Or more, way more.
Every building in the North America is covered.
I don't think you appreciate how long a kilometer is of just ice going straight up.
I don't know. I've been in a car.
CN Tower height is 0.5 kilometer. So it's fucking tall. That's
Mr. I've been in a car before. All of a sudden, is shocked.
I know.
It's sad that without the help of the magicians, the tallest building we can construct is only 0.5 kilometer, which is pathetic.
Exactly. Yeah.
Please note, earlier in the show, I'm still talking about getting my license, so I'm not an expert. But
Yeah.
anyways, if that was happening today, let's say you would be able to have enough food, you can somehow figure out how to get enough clean water, like I guess boil it down or whatever. Can you just like keep walking in a circle so you have a packed down spot? I guess it would get packed down as it went up, right? Can you stay on top of it when it's coming down that much?
Yeah, well, it's ice at this
so?
point at the bottom because it's all been crushed down by like a quintillion metric tons of ice on top of it, right? So it's just
Do you just get covered though, as like a human on the bottom, or do you like? Does it just everything gets covered and you're still on top of?
I think you just live on top of it, frankly.
Yeah, this is over hundreds or hundreds of years, Peter. How long was the later?
But it is still thousands of years within the history that we're talking about here of like the art. So like the dispute is not about when the last ice age ended. It's simply what was happening at the time, right? Okay. We're saying it's magicians at the time, opposed to more conventional
magic.
Like guys with pointy sticks.
The dry ass period. Opposite of the wet ass pussy period.
Yes, it is. Well, Asclepius hasn't been born yet, so
true.
It came first.
Ben Shapiro talking about how a dry ass is a medical condition, and he would know because his wife's a doctor.
My wife is from Antarctica, and she told me that a dry ass is a medical condition.
You don't understand. My wife studied at the finest sorcerer schools that there are, okay? And I understand that not everyone agrees with me, but it's true that dry ass is a serious condition, okay? And no one should have it.
I have the wettest ass there is.
Dry pussy, wet ass. Thank you very much. Let's go a freak there, for real.
So, it's hard to say what caused the shifting climate or ancient Ben Shapiro's wet ass. Hancock suggests that a meteor or comet coming from the direction of the star Sirius impacted or exploded over the Laurentide ice sheet, which is the massive sheet of ice that covered most of North America at the time. This is also the reason why there is no crater for this impact, is because it would have impacted the ice, which would have melted, and along with it, any evidence of this happening whatsoever.
Yeah. Sure, right.
But yeah, the Laurentide ice sheet is the one that we were talking about this whole time. It was the sheet of ice that extended over from the tip of Nunavut, all of Greenland, all the way down to the Great Lakes. So our entire country would have been under a sheet of ice, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah, until a dog sent an asteroid our way.
Precisely, yeah. So the heat from this event would have melted trillions of gallons of water, rapidly raising the sea levels across the planet, and maybe even sinking the magician's homeland into the ocean. This would further explain the presence of so many flood myths in cultures around the world, who'd learned from the last of the traveling magicians, had learned about this cataclysm from the last of the traveling magicians, as well as being like the straight up basis for Plato's Atlantis.
That's right? A lot of backwards god math to get to whatever that was, because you have to say, everyone believes there's a flood. So there used to be so much snow that an asteroid hit it. So that's why it happened. And it's so called the magic.
It's not like there's some sort of like primal fear we have of water as a species. It's not that around this time, every culture was experimenting with agriculture and trying to get access to water in various ways. Like none of those things. It was a big asteroid from the Dog constellation.
I don't even live near a coastline, and I've had dreams of being in a port town where a tsunami's coming, and there's just a 50-foot wave in the distance, and I'm like, what are we gonna do about that?
You and I actually legitimately live on the side of a mountain, like like nothing would happen to us.
600 kilometers from the ocean. Crazy. I've had dreams of nuclear bombs. Same thing. Just looking in the distance, like, nah, fuck, huh?
Yeah, and that'll give you cataracts.
True.
Apparently. Well, our next episode, yeah, exactly. Reporting from the crater we all like huddle up in is going to be the one where we talk about the Ark of the Covenant and the cataract risk.
Yeah, exactly. We'll all be into hentai and have our eyes glazed over.
Oh, it's going to be the worst part
of does hentai give you cataracts? Oh, no.
No.
I gotta call my doctor.
Ethan stumbles because he can't see anything, grabs his phone.
Stumbling into the landline phone I have on the wall in here, like Roger, I can't see. I need your help.
So, thanks to their advanced understanding of astronomy, the magicians and the people they educated often aligned their monuments with the stars. The Great Pyramids of Giza are aligned with Orion's belt, not as we see it now, but aligned with how Orion's belt would have appeared to us 12,000 years ago at the end of the last ice age, before the Younger Dryas impact. Which is something I didn't look into this. It is called the precession of the equinox. And it is the fact that the tilt of the Earth does shift a little bit, roughly on average about 1 degree every 300 years. So the stars in the sky are at this point in slightly different places, at least from our perspective at ground level here.
They would. Sirius, which I've been talking about, brightest star in the sky. Fun fact.
Yes, exactly.
Also, it's part of the dog constellations. That's why I keep mentioning it. And when people say dog days of summer, they're referring to Sirius because we in the north only see it in the summer.
Interesting.
So the hottest days of summer are usually associated with when Sirius rises above the horizon.
I don't know the details, kind of like when I'm listening to Bobby's stories about how to find an island at night. But I remember something about the Mayans also like tracking the constellations like way, way early, and like knowing that different constellations would show up at different times, like in 300 and something year cycles, because of like the movement of things. And Graham Hancock also talks about that in some way, which I think I might have slept through, but I remember that a little bit. Yeah.
So I will get into some Maltese astronomers with knowledge from the magicians, obviously, in a second here. But I will go back to what you just mentioned there, because this is a part of the book that I was listening to after I finished writing the script. Within the history here, and this may also be more conventional, is that the Olmec actually were the first people to create I think it's called the bar and circle calendars, like the Mayan calendar that we talk about, or like the South American calendar we talk about that predict the end of the world 13 years ago.
They never did, but worth clarifying. It probably
it goes through like ages, like it will be the age of Sirius, because now it's the dog 300 years, and now it's the big cup 300 years.
Exactly. We're currently living in the era of the fifth sun, so we are after a fourth apocalypse has struck, which is another thing that Graham Hancock talks about, like in the history here, like the Inca collapse, like all of history in the past like couple thousand years have all been part of the fifth sun. And exactly like the age of Aquarius, like the age of Sirius is when dangerous things can happen, at least if we're to follow the warnings from the magicians here, basically.
But very to the point that like ancient people did amazing things to be within like lifespans, or just like what your grandparents told you, to be able to track 300-year changes of ages is like pretty dang
incredible.
Cool.
Spectacular.
And then 3,000 years later, to have Graham Hancock making money hand over fist, being like, no, it's because some other white people told them about it, probably. It's like, fuck you, man. Because I'm just saying, if they're from Antarctica, they're probably white, right? There's not a lot of sun, not a lot of heat.
We talked about the pale-skinned god of the Andes,
pale
right?
Skin, like, exactly.
With beards, like
very confirmed white man. Did it all, actually. So, it's all racism. Oh no!
When you first said "pale god of the Andes," I thought you meant like Andrew, like some Irish guy. I'm just the king of the Andes. Okay, got it. Yeah,
that's a joke from Hot Fuzz.
Is it?
Yeah, we call them the Andes.
We call them the Andes. Yeah,
they're both called Andrew. Very good. That is top 5 movie, man. Absolutely. That is a perfect film.
I need to rewatch that one. Apparently I still remember it in the back of my brain.
So there are temple sites on Malta, which is just south of Italy, in the Mediterranean, and all of these temples have their doorways facing the direction of Sirius, and certainly not the sun. Put that out of your mind. The fact that they hadn't invented glass or doors or anything like that has nothing to do with the fact that you needed just have your door face the rising sun to get things done during the day. Okay, they were facing a pinprick of light on the horizon, the star Sirius, obviously.
Brightest pinprick. Gotta give him that.
Yeah,
the whole dang sky.
Also, like, if you don't have a phone or a TV to watch like Seth Meyers at night or whatever. Like, imagine just going out at night and looking at the night sky before light pollution.
Right,
it must have
yeah.
been the most like
Huge,
magnificent,
man.
magical
Huge.
thing like ever, right?
Well, the fact that it's
Like-
magnificent and magical is definitely why people bothered tracking it for fucking 300 years to see
Like,
comets
yeah.
come back, right? Like,
To your point, Pete, like on like, oh, to the rising sun, you're right, it's probably just like for the rising sun, but even if it wasn't, to then make the leap that it's like for some like ancient prophecy and like doomsday thing, is like you're gilding the lily here. Okay, it's like
Yeah.
it's, you know, it was enough to just say it's a cool and pretty star and people liked it. That's all it needs to
Yeah.
be, right?
Yeah. We'll get into Doomsday. Don't worry. The doorways are a warning, Ethan.
Okay,
as
good.
we
Good
should
luck.
have known, because the magicians know what's up.
Mhm.
Okay? And we're coming towards the end here. So, Jamie, for a second there, did you have another point you wanted to make about the stars, or should we keep going?
No, I'm just like thinking perspective wise. Like, I know when I go out to like the farm where Ethan lives and I see the stars just a little bit better than I can here, it's magical. It must have been like back then, like you could see so much. No pollution, like no anything. Like just so people know, like stars are cool, man.
Yeah.
Cool as hell.
I think the three of us would have been like still friends, just loving the sky and looking at the splendor of the earth if we were 12,000-year-old like Maltese farmers, just like these
Absolutely.
people were, right?
Yeah.
Like 100%. We'd have whatever the
Pete's-
version of their podcast is.
Yeah.
Pete's playing with toys that are just like horse carriages that turn into people.
I'd be fucking stone chiseling some hentai to give myself cataracts.
I fuck with the
And I-
Neolithic Transformer.
I'd be yelling at anyone near a body of water trying to put any kind of authority on it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
You got like a guy like a bamboo stool right on the beach of Malta.
Yeah.
You're just like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
He's got a snake that he lit on fire. He's trying to shoot the fucking lifeguard with it.
So it's theorized that the magicians had the doors of Malta. So, and these are like megalithic. They're very like there's the doors of these like very large stone temples on Malta, which is an island, but during the Ice Age was not. There was a land bridge. At least we assume there was a land bridge between Sicily and Malta at this time, 12,000 years ago, because there is, of course, a limited amount of water on Earth. So when it is in ice, ocean go down. That's how land bridges are formed. So the idea would be that the magicians would ensure that the temples would always have a doorway or a window facing the constellation that contains the star Sirius as a warning of future peoples. So the comet that would have caused the Younger Dryas impact and then the cataclysm that ensued, destroying the magicians' like society and civilization, would have come from the direction of Sirius. Between us, the Earth, and Sirius, there is like an asteroid belt that the Earth like passes through every few centuries, basically.
Sure.
Hancock even suggests that the meteor that exploded in Russia over Tunguska on June 30th, 1908 was part of the same asteroid cloud that the magicians sought to warn us about, because it is a thing that it is real, and the Earth does pass through it, and every once in a while we get like an airburst. All to say, while they may now be gone, the legacy of the magicians lives on even today. Without agriculture, large cities and empires never would have existed, meaning the lives we enjoy today may never have been possible. And as a final point, none of this is real. I have been your host. Peter O'Donohue. You can find me at Loreboys Podcast on Instagram. You can find my comic on Amazon and at patreon.com/theloreboys. Link below. Please read the Black Frontier and let me know what you think.
It came out last Monday, right?
Last week.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
It's out right now. Go get it. Go get it right now. You got a Kindle? Go download it.
Yeah.
Go on Amazon.
Yeah.
Not even last Monday, but 2 days
Sub-
ago. Just now, not last week. 2 days ago, it came out.
Yeah.
I gave myself
get it.
4.5 stars 2-3 days ago when I finished it. I didn't even give myself a perfect score.
I gave you 1 out of 5 on ChristianBook.com. Not enough God in it. Jamie, you want to talk about your Twitch stream?
Yeah, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Come hang out and stream. Ethan even joined the stream this week. We played some For the King, and
True. I was the star of the show.
we
Stole
did some
spotlight.
voice acting. Ethan, great voice acting. Bobby, great voice acting.
I think I did. I don't think I did any voice acting. You guys were popping off. I was letting you guys cook.
My style of voice
every
acting.
woman in For the King 2 in our playthroughs apparently smokes 10 packs of cigarettes a day because they all
One
have
of
the raspiest voice.
one of the girls' names was Griselle, which kind of makes sense for us. It's Grizzly and like,
Okay.
yeah. Well,
I see
I
that.
just played the one of the guards, and what I did is I just shouted fantasy
True.
because I said it. I just said it louder, which is what I think acting is.
Voice acting is easy. Truly. Honestly, we could do it. I'm also very good at singing and dancing. Okay.
Yep.
And being with women.
Yep. Lore Boy James. If you ever want to be with a woman, don't go to the stream. But if you're like me, come to Lore Boy James.
It's anathema. Okay. It is poison to your dating chances. Okay. That's all I can say.
That's me.
Thanks so much for listening to the show. If you like it, consider leaving us a rating or review on your podcast app of choice. Check out all the links that we got in the description below. Click them. Just click them. Coward,
Yep.
huh? Just do it. There's a blue button. You click it. Make it a different shade of blue. All right. And if you want to support the show, we do have a Patreon, patreon.com/loreboys, where you can hear us talk about the genesis of the hatred for lifeguards. Truly, I mean, it's a tale as old as time, but the magicians did a time magic on us so that we actually discovered it during the Patreon episode. And now retroactively, it's Loreboys canon applied to every single episode we've ever done has been in spite of lifeguards. Okay,
It's true. The liberals ruined the public pool. Honestly,
true. They made it too.
Much like Graham Hancock, we are working backwards from a thing we already believed and just got killed.
They made it too woke when all I want to do is sleep in the pool. Okay. If you don't like Patreon, we do have Loreboys Prime service, which we've always offered. Where we have
12,000 years, we've been doing Loreboys Prime.
Yeah, 12,000 years. The ancient art was taught to us by some magicians who had some snakes. It's pretty fucking cool. And we offer, pretty fantastic prizes in return for it. We'll give you cataracts, honestly. Pete's working on some real cool stuff with his next comic. And I don't want to spoil too much, right? But Valentine's Day 2026, keep your eyes peeled for some spicy Loreboys content. That's all I can say about it, huh?
I shifted very quickly from Fish Cowboys to anime porn, and everybody got cataracts.
It's where the money is, okay? So it turns out there's no money in Fish Cowboys. We're doing big anime titties already.
How long after the JoJo episode did this take? And now we're endorsing hentai. We're going downhill, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so subscribers to Loreboys Prime will get a big titty mouse pad of your Loreboy of choice. Basically,
those would sell like hotcakes. I think we should actually make those. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would constitute a Loreboys.
Boys.